day after day, it's the repetition that matters. Hitler, Hitler, Hitler. And you convince people that they're living in a hellscape and they better do something about it. So the main thing I saw was that. Um, and it, once the bubble is formed, um, it's hard to get out. I mean, you can't talk people out of it. There's no amount of information that will change their mind. Cognitive dissonance will kick in if you show them a counterexample. And the weird thing about Charlie, who I'd never met, by the way, I didn't have the pleasure. The weird thing is that when I started hearing all the accusations, and there were a lot of them, I said to myself, well, I'll bet some of these might be a little bit true. So I started to look for the original quotes, etc. None of them are true. And there were a lot of them. They were all either a made up quote or a quote and a context and nothing else. And when you hear people talking about it, especially the young people, they'll say things like, he was a bad hater person, but there's no example. So that's sort of the sign that it's a mass hysteria, because they can't give reasons and they don't seem too interested in the reasons. They're just sure that something has to be done. Now, on top of that, for the young people, there's probably also an economic pressure. They might feel that life doesn't have a positive path. So that might be playing into this a little bit as well. But I do wonder what will happen. And I predict that there's going to be another big bubble of psychological distress when the people who have said such bad things about him in public realize that none of it was true. Because over time, it looks like he's going to be talked about so much that we'll finally have a complete body of information about him so we can understand them. And it won't happen to most people. Most people will just have cognitive dissonance. They'll still believe he was, Hitler Jr. But there will be some people, not a big percentage, who are going to realize that they did something so shameful that it will haunt them for the rest of their lives. That they were part of saying something terrible about one of the best people that we've witnessed. I mean, he genuinely was a high character person, and you could see it in everything he did. So there's something big coming up. Yeah, but then another thing that happened that was fascinating to me, because I didn't expect it, which was the Democrats have always had what I'd call a machine, which is that since they worked with the media, they had the media in their pocket, you would see it happen when they'd have some, all right, our message this week are these words. And then everybody would say the same words. And then the media would just pump it out. So it was like this big, well-functioning machine. And then they had the NGOs and all the funding tricks, et cetera. But when Charlie Kirk died, you could almost feel this massive energy being released. He sort of controlled it, but when it was released, his mortal coil was no more. I feel like that energy just went into people. And suddenly tens of millions of people simultaneously said, what can I do? What can I do right now? Yeah, and that's different. People don't say, I'm going to stop everything. Tell me what to do. I'm going to go to church. A lot of people did. I'm going to say stuff on social media. I'm going to hunt down the people who said bad things and cancel them. But I'm going to do something. We're going to figure out how to start another chapter of TPUSA, and all of that's happening, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down. The vigils, etc. If anything, the energy, it might be growing. And I've never seen anything like it in my life. I've never seen the Republicans turn into their own machine, and now it is a